Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Ghoul MF Michael Fletcher alongside my partner in crime and compadre, Anthony Florio. Unfortunately, we will not have Michael Bullock here tonight, and we hope to have him back tomorrow night for the regular season finale of T of TXN Sports World live on Anthony's channel on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And we hope that'll happen tomorrow night. Unfortunately, tonight we have to start off with a heartbreaking news that came out earlier this afternoon, about maybe 3 or 4 o'clock ish. Word got out that the hardcore icon known as Terry Funk passed away at the age of 79 years old. Um, Devastating news to especially the hardcore wrestling fans. Former NWA World Champion, a staple of, at the time, Eastern Championship Wrestling before they went into the land of the extreme. But Terry Funk was without a doubt one of the most ruthless, dangerous, most off the wall professional wrestlers that you would ever see. If there was hardcore wrestling, king of the death match, this was one of those guys. He loved the blood, he loved the gore. If you loved him or you hated him, you knew every time a death match or a hardcore fight and Terry Funk was going to be in it, you knew something bad was about to happen. And this man was, like I said, the king of death matches, the king of um, that style of wrestling. I seen Terry Funk's matches so many times, and I just marvel and just say, "Oh my heavens!" Every time I get to see this guy, he was absolutely amazing. And yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. Um, his legacy is etched forever, and this man is truly a legend, an icon, and one of the greatest to ever do it, man. And my thoughts and prayers are with the family tonight. Like I said, this was a heartbreaking loss to the world of professional wrestling. And unfortunately, earlier today, I guess something happened. I don't know what it was, but Ric Flair attacked ESPN. I don't know if, I guess ESPN did something or said something or left something, and I don't know what happened, but ESPN is getting right through the coals right about now. For Terry, I guess they reported something about Terry Funk's death, and Ric Flair went off on ESPN. I don't know what he said. I'm trying to figure that out, trying to find out more about that details, but I guess ESPN reported it earlier, and I guess they did some kind of injustice to the legacy of Terry Funk. Um, so like I said, my thoughts and prayers are with Terry Funk's family right now. Anthony Florio, come on in. Terry Funk, like I said, hardcore legend and icon taken away from us earlier today, passing away at the age of 79 years old.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, it's never fun and it's never easy when we have to start a show like this, whether it's the wrestling show or TXN Sports World. But it is a very sad day for the professional wrestling community, and especially those who grew up with the hardcore element, like you and so many others, MF. And but 79 years old, man's been battling dementia, but the passing away today, and Damn. A lot of wrestlers have paid their respects, including the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He mentioned he went off on ESPN because apparently they weren't acknowledging Terry Funk's death enough. Because apparently they were talking about some football player getting arrested, and Ric Flair didn't really like that. So that's what that was. So I guess he wanted more attention on it. But you know, um, hope he got a while because his resume reads like a who's who when it comes to professional wrestling. I mean, in All Japan Pro Wrestling, him and his brother Dory Funk Jr. They ran that sucker. They won the World's Strongest Tag Determination League in 1977, 79, and 82. Champion Carnival Distinguished Service Award in 1980. World's Strongest Tag Determination League Technical Award 1977 with Dory Funk Jr., as well as the Strongest Tag Determination League Team Play Award in 1980. World's Strongest Tag Determination League Distinguished Service Medal Award in 84. Tag Determination League Technique Award in 86 and 87. And Tag Determination League Excellent Team Award in 1990. Cauliflower Alley Club received the Iron Mike Mazurki Award in 2005. Championship Wrestling from Florida, former NWA Florida Heavyweight Champion, two-time Florida Tag Champion with Dory Funk Jr., one-time Florida Television Champion, NWA North American Tag Team Champion, Florida version with Dory Funk Jr., two-time Southern Heavyweight Champion, won the Florida Television Championship Tournament in 1971, and won the Florida Heavyweight Championship Tournament in 1979. Two-time ECW World Heavyweight Champion, a former ECW Television Champion, inducted into the George Tragos Lou Thesz Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2010. Georgia Championship Wrestling, a former Georgia Tag Team Champion with Dory Funk Jr., a Georgia Television Champion, and won the Georgia Tag Team Championship Tournament with Dory Funk Jr. in 1978. Inducted into the Hardcore Hall of Fame class of 2005. Inducted into the International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2021. His greatest success, of course, Jim Crockett Promotions, World Championship Wrestling, two-time NWA, WCW, United States Heavyweight Champion, three-time Hardcore Champion, inducted into the WCW Hall of Fame in 1995, won the NWA United States Championship Tournament in 1975, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, he was their heavyweight champion on one occasion, National Wrestling Alliance, inducted into the NWA Hall of Fame in 2009, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and then in NWA Big Time Wrestling, he was a Brass Knuckles champion, Texas version once, NWA Hollywood Wrestling, one-time NWA America's Heavyweight Champion, three-time International Tag Team Champion with Dory Funk Jr., one-time World Tag Team Champion, Los Angeles version with Dory Funk Jr., Pro Pain Pro Wrestling, a 3PW World Heavyweight Champion, PWI, 1989 was awarded the Feud of the Year, that feud with Ric Flair, which led to one of the greatest matches in the history of professional wrestling, Great American Bash, 1989. That brutal I Quit match. A match every wrestling fan should see at least once in their lifetime. I have seen it, and it is not for the weak of heart. Let me tell you that right now. 1997, PWI Most Inspirational Wrestler of the Year. 2021 received the Stanley Weston Award. 1976 was voted Wrestler of the Year. Ranked number 22 of the top 500 singles wrestlers in the PWI 500 in 1991 and the PWI years in 2003. PWI also ranked him number 9 of the top 100 tag teams of the PWI years with Dory Funk Jr. in 2003. Inducted into the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum in 2004. Southwest Championship Wrestling, Southwest Heavyweight Champion one-time Tag Team Champion with Dory Funk Jr., Squared Circle Wrestling, 2CW Heavyweight Champion, inducted into the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2010, and the St. Louis Wrestling Club, NWA Missouri Heavyweight Champion, Stampede Wrestling, inducted into their Hall of Fame in 1995, Tokyo Sports, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1983, won the Match of the Year award in 1980 with Dory Funk Jr. versus the Giant Baba and Jumbo Tsuruta on December 11th of 1980. Also won the Popularity Award in 1979. USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion, Western States Sports, NWA Brass Knuckles Champion 2 times, Texas version, International Tag Team Champion with Dory Funk Jr. 2 times, 12-time Western State Heavyweight Champion. Wow. 3-time Western States Tag Team Champion, 2 with Rocky Romero and 1 with the Lawman. Amarillo version of the World Tag Team titles 3 times with Dory Funk Jr. NWA World Tag Team Championship Texas version 2 times with Dory Funk Jr. WWF/E, a 1-time co-holder of the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship, winning that with Cactus Jack. We all remember that. WrestleMania 14, the infamous dumpster match with the New Age Outlaws, one of the many highlights of that special night. And then in 2009, took his rightful place into the hallowed halls of the WWE Hall of Fame. Hell of a class right there, winning along the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, just to name a couple there. And then finally, the Wrestling Observer newsletter, all of these in 1989. Best Brawler, Best Heel, Best on Interviews, Hardest Worker, Feud of the Year versus Ric Flair. And then the Wrestling Observer newsletter inducted him into their Hall of Fame in 1996. Hope you got all that, because there's going to be a quiz later. So just wanted to let you know that right now. So no, but by God, that is a resume. Oh my God, that is one hell of a resume. That if that's not proof that he's one of the greatest of all time, then I like to know what is. Tell me that right now. But a hardcore icon, and just one of the all-time great guys in professional wrestling. Someone you would have loved to have met, and you would have loved to have heard his stories. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he told some great stories, during any conventions he went to and all that. But of course, like I said, I didn't really see any of his early stuff because we obviously weren't around. We were not born yet, or we were very little at the time. But I remember there was one promo that he cut in NWA, which he yelled out "Forever" on it, which became, a very popular meme on the old Mean Gene site, back in the day. And we used to have some fun with that one. And remember that promo. And of course, you also have to remember, I only remember his WWF and, pretty much WCW days, honestly. I mean, I remember WrestleMania 2 when he and Dory Funk Jr., when Dory Funk was known as Haas Funk, the Funk Brothers, when they picked up a win over Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog at WrestleMania 2 in Los Angeles. And then, of course, his big moment in WWE was when he and Cactus Jack McFoley, WrestleMania 14, the dumpster match, New Age Outlaws, WWF Tag Team Champions, even though the reign only lasted one day, 24 hours, because they dropped the belts right back to the Outlaws that night in the cage, and that's the night D-Generation X, the DX Army, was formed. And we all know how that thing went. Enough said. Hall of Famers themselves. I know MF could tell you more stories about the hardcore stuff. I mean, the wars he and Mick Foley had in Japan and in ECW. I mean, those exploding barbed wire death matches. The one where Foley, got his ear messed up, as we all know, and so many other moments. And whether he was Terry Funk or Chainsaw Charlie or what have you, this guy was an all-time great. And my all-time favorite match, like I said, was that NWA, or was that Great American Bash in 1989 when he and Ric Flair beat the ever-loving you-know-what out of each other for that NWA WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And like I said, that is a match that any wrestling fan needs to go out of their way to see at least once, even if it's only once in your lifetime. I mean, I think out of respect for him, I might just pay a respect and watch that sucker back soon enough. And I'm definitely going to be thinking about Mr. Funk during that. But that match was so fun. All right, I might have been thinking about another event, but But I do remember the Great American Bash. I mean, that was the match. That was the match right there. So they did have a legendary match. So or maybe it was on a Clash of Champions. I don't know, but fantastic match. It's a match you got to go out of your way to see at least once. I think that might have been a regular wrestling match. I remember they had some very violent, hardcore type match um, back in '89 or so. But man, he's certainly going to be missed, and an icon of this business. And hearts go out to his family, his friends, everyone that has had the pleasure of working with him, and I can only imagine how much hell he's probably gonna. He's gonna raise a lot of hell up there. He is. So there isn't much more to say except rest in peace, good sir. We thank you for the memories. We thank you for the inspiration. But most of all, we thank you for Terry Funk and literally putting you, yourself, and your body through so much hell for our entertainment for so many years. It's the stuff like that legends will always be remembered for. So I don't know what else there is to say, MF. We could go all night about this, but we got some other things to get into. So rest in peace, Terry Funk. Thanks for the memories. We thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for Terry Funk, and like I said, for literally busting your ass night in, night out, twice on Sunday if he had to, for our entertainment. We love you, man.
Yeah, I mean, well said, Anthony Florio. No doubt about it in my mind. And like we said, the show must go on, and we're gonna have to try to do our best to get back to the form as we normally would do. So we're just gonna start it right on off. NXT. This was their Heat Wave event. Started off with a banger. Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams. Ilya Dragunov winning the match in 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Solid 3-star bout. Great opener to the show. There was really nothing bad to say about it. I thought they did a really good job. Yes, Trick did show a little bit of that greenness that I did criticize him about. But the thing is, he went up against a guy with Ilya Dragunov that carried him through a very promising and a very good match. So I can't be too mad about Trick Williams' performance. But it was fine for what it was worth. It was a 3-star bout, like I said, and Anthony Florio, Ilya Dragunov wins it in 12:48.
Yes, indeed, he did. 3.25, 3.5. This was a major test for Trick. His most competitive and high-profile singles bout was against one of NXT's best. While it was not time for him to beat Dragunov, he more than held his own. This was the kind of prove-it match that works, and the fans were behind every near fall. Trick worked at the pace Dragunov set and left this bout as a future title contender. He will likely win gold sooner rather than later. The Mad Dragon put himself right back into the NXT Championship picture with the win, and who knows, maybe he'll get another shot at it come No Mercy on September 30. Trick nearly took the win with an impressive top rope Uranagi. Dragunov struggled to pull up Trick, but managed to plan with a powerbomb, followed by a low forearm smash for a shocking near fall. Trick stood back up after losing, which prompted an impressed nod from Dragunov. And then Wesley and Dragunov nearly got into a fight in the locker room as the Mad Dragon did not believe Lee could beat Carmelo Hayes. We'll get into that later. But 3.25, 3.5 stars. Great start to the show. So with that, MF, set me up for the next relevant thing here.
Well, unfortunately, we did have a cutout here. It was Ava Rain versus Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile winning the match in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So the next relevant thing that we had was Nathan Frazier versus Noam Dar for the NXT Heritage Cup. The winner of the bout in the 6th and final round, 2 minutes, 32 seconds into round number 6, and new NXT Heritage Cup champion, the Supernova himself, the leader of the Pinky Party of Metaphor, Noam Dar. He's officially regained it for the third time in his career. Anthony, it is yours.
Leader of the what?
Oh, it's ICW. It's the Pinky Party.
Oh, good grief. Yeah.
What?
No,
What?
I'm just, oh, I'm just having fun with you, Fletcher. You know that. So, just having some Jesse the Body fun with you. I'm like, oh, but nonetheless, I know we're trying to have a little fun here after that gut wrenching start. But let's see. In all seriousness, though, MF, this was by far the best Heritage Cup match since the championship was reintroduced in NXT. It was a dramatic showcase of the rounds format that ended where Noam Dar worked smarter than his opponent to become the first ever 3-time winner. It's a shame that one of the falls happened during the commercial break, as the complete experience would have stolen the show at a pay-per-view. When the Scottish Supernova arrived in NXT with his Heritage Cup, nothing was clicking. The introduction of Meta-4, coupled with him losing the trophy, changed everything. This whole story has come together in beautiful harmony. While Frazier is great and could have ran with the cup longer, Noam Dar has defined the championship. The former champion will rebound while Meta-4 dominated in the rounds format. Frazier, let's see. Frazier asked for Tyler Bate to work as his second backstage before the bout. During the commercial break in the second round, Dabba-Kato chokeslammed Bate under the apron. The distraction allowed Dar to roll up Frazier for the first fall. Frazier nearly got a fall with a tope suicida, a springboard reverse DDT, and a standing moonsault. Time expired, and Dar caught Frazier with a cheap shot after the bell. The Heritage Cup champion grabbed his first fall off a superplex into the final cut in the fourth round. Lash Legend grabbed the leg of Frazier to save the Scottish Supernova from a pinfall after a diving cannonball to the floor in the fifth round. In the final round, Dar reversed the springboard DDT into a knee bar. And then later, Meta-4 found out Dar's next challenger would be determined in an 8-man tournament called the NXT Global Invitational. Now, this is going to be a round-robin tournament here. The lovely Megan Morant explained the rules earlier this afternoon on The Bump on Peacock. And I understand it's going to be this it's a round robin tournament. So, all right. Whoop, I just had it here. All right, here we go. Two groups with 4 superstars in each group in a round robin style tournament. Matches will have a 12-minute time limit. Pinfall or a submission victory earns 2 points. A draw earns 1 point. The winner of Group A faces the winner of Group B on the September 26th edition of NXT. And whoever wins the tournament will challenge Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup at No Mercy on September 30th. So there's something for you all to think about right there. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. I got to give this in excess of, I could easily call Fight of the Night on this if I wanted to. Somewhere in excess of 4.25, teetering on 4.5 stars. Excellent Heritage Cup match. Like I said, the best one ever. Noam Dar has the cup back. But MF, how about that Global Heritage tournament that I just dropped the knowledge on?
Yeah, no, this is gonna be very interesting to watch. More than anything else. But I will say this: I will openly admit I'll say the same thing. I'll probably go more about the middle, like you said, middle of the road. Everything else, 4.25 stars is the right rating. That's what I would have given the match. So yeah, and we'll wait and see how it plays out. So amazing outcome. Next up that we had was one of the most highly anticipated matches of the night. It was Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley representing Judgment Day going up against Dragon Lee and Lara Valkyria. And when it was all said and done, winners of the bout, 14 minutes and 4 seconds, Dragon Lee and Lara Valkyria, as basically Dragon Lee pinned Dominic Mysterio with the Destino for the win. All right, now the match was actually good, but there was an interruption, a massive interruption, because Raquel Rodriguez showed up and jumped Rhea Ripley. They brawled all the way to the back. That opened the door for Dragon Lee to get a championship committee moment and knock off Dirty Dominic Mysterio. I don't think a lot of people is going to be too mad or too sad about the outcome, but I will say this: that moment did take away, because this was another 4-star fight, but I can only drop it to 3 3/4 because of the ending. I think the ending was a little dusty. I get it. I understand why. Because with Raquel and Rhea, you now know more than ever that's going to be the fight for the women's world title down the line. And if you think about it, in hindsight, it also opens the door for Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio now, as they might be on the verge of a war heading into No Mercy for the NXT North American title. So it served two purposes. They tighten it up with a very nice bow. I would have liked to see the jump after the fight more than anything else, but I understand why. Because once you take the Eradicator out of the fight, now you let Dom on his own. We saw how it was going to play out. Dominic cannot handle it on his own. He needed Rhea Ripley. He needs the help of Judgment Day. When he's all by himself on his lonesome, he doesn't have it. Dragon Lee exposed it, and now he has opened the door. Championship committee moment, 3 3/4 of a star. Anthony, it's yours.
3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star, MF. Every second of Rhea Ripley versus Lyra Valkyria in this match was must watch. They have impeccable chemistry. The Australian always stays in motion in the ring, and it makes even a basic leg lock sequence memorable. There were also some fun sequences between Dirty Dom and Dragon Lee, especially down the stretch. But the transitions to the men wrestling were awkward and kept us from being even better. The win sets up Dragon Lee to challenge again for the North American Championship, but Mustafa Ali also waits in the wings. That title scene is loaded with talent to watch. In a private locker room, Ali warned Dom that he was next up to challenge for the North American Championship, and Valkyria rocked Ripley with a series of kicks, and when the Eradicator tried to powerbomb her, the Valkyrie nearly caught her with a roll-up. But you all know how high I am on Lyra Valkyria, and she hung with Rhea Ripley, and I am telling you, it's not going to be long. If it's not this year, then by golly, it's going to be sometime next year. I believe Lyra Valkyria is going to get strapped with that NXT Women's Championship. She is the future of that women's division. And then God forbid when she gets called in the main roster, man. Ooh, sky's going to be the limit for that one. So, yeah, Rhea, yeah, they who knows if we're going to get more out of that, but we'll see. But boy howdy. Rhea and Lyra definitely carried the bout, no question about it. Even though Dom and Dragon had some moments, it was all about the ladies in this bout. 3.5 to 3 3/4 is the correct rating for this one, MF. So not much more to say here. Valkyrie, like I said, I'm gonna keep saying this until I'm blue in the damn face. She has a future so bright, we all have to wear shades. Let's move on.
Yeah, no arguments there. No arguments at all. Right after that, the next relevant thing that we had was a match. It was for the NXT title, the main event. Carmelo Hayes versus Wes Lee, winner of the bout, 11 minutes and 38 seconds, and still the NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes. Anthony, it's yours.
MF, this had high potential. We all know that this bout there was so much hype going into this. But let me just say this. This had high potential, but was heavily abbreviated. Carmelo Hayes and Wesley barely got going before the finishing sequence came in. With the history between these two, it would have made sense to give them another 10 minutes. On a night of hot performances, this was one of the weaker bouts. While it was far from bad, it was a letdown based on the potential. A future match can and will be much better than this. Hopefully, Wesley will get that chance. The finish was clunky, but sold the experience of Mello overcoming the pure emotion of Lee. The challenger will need to go back to the drawing board and find a way to outsmart the A champion as well as outperform him. And the A champion sent Lee through the announce table with a springboard reverse DDT. He then went for nothing but net, but Lee ducked and hit a cardiac kick, but Mello rolled outside to escape the pinfall. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. But oh my goodness, what could have been? You want to talk about pressed for time, or as the other word I like to say, but I'm not going to do it. You know the word I'm thinking about, and the word I really want to use, but I'm not going to. But it was pressed for time. Let's just say that it was pressed for time. Ridiculously pressed for time. That's all I'm going to say on that. So I'm hopeful we'll get a rematch with these two at the earliest possible date. And boy, howdy, when we do, they're going to have the banger they should have had last night. Believe that. 3.25, 3.5. MF, did I start or did you start?
No, it was you. It was you. You led off. Now
right,
I get to talk about it. 3.25, 3.5. You're right. Yep, you're right. 3.25, 3.5. They were a little bit pressed for time. That is a little bit of a disappointment. I wish the match could have been a little more longer, but it did not. But it was still fine for what it was worth. I think the match itself could have been a lot more stronger, but it is what it is. So I got nothing more to say. It was fine. Like you said, it should not have been that pressed. But at the end of the day, it was. Not totally mad about it, but it is what it is. So yeah, let's go right on with it. Overall thoughts. Like you said, it was a solid show. There was some good promo stuff. Obviously the Creeds are back. They challenged the Dyad to a steel cage fight, and if they win, they're back in NXT. I don't know if that's gonna be the case. Maybe not. I don't know how that's gonna play out. But I will say this: that's going to be very interesting to watch. The opening for the women's division, especially for the title, there's so many contenders now for that. Tiffany Stratton, you might want to keep your eyes peeled because, and especially after what happened with that beautiful beauty from Texas herself, Roxanne Perez, Roxy, man, she laid some lumber on her, man. Did you see that shot she laid on her before the brawl broke out? Yowza. So you got that going on. So there was some good stuff from NXT. Heatwave definitely delivered. I say solid 8.5 out of 10. So it was only maybe one real bad match, which was Ivy Nile versus Ava Raine. But other than that, I don't think that there's very few and far complaints that you can find for this show. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Going into last night, all signs pointed to the main event far outshining the rest of the card, but the opposite happened. Trick Williams versus Ilya Dragunov. I believe I just want to make sure I have this right. Trick Williams versus Ilya Dragunov, the Heritage Cup match with Nathan Frazier and Noam Dar. The mixed tag, Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio versus Lyra Valkyria and Dragon Lee were all significantly better than the final bout. That is a major testament to the talent, elevating contests that had solid builds but were not nearly as flashy on paper. Everyone worked hard to raise each other and set the stage for many exciting matches to come. The show, however, was a letdown for the women's division. It has taken too long to establish the next challenger for Tiffany Stratton, and the only all-female match on the card did not even last 3 minutes. Next week, however, the spotlight should be back on the women with an exciting fatal four-way match in which it'll be Gigi Dolan versus Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James versus Blair Davenport. the winner will be the next challenger for Tiffany Stratton in the NXT Women's Championship. In fact, the entire card that has been promised, from the Creed brothers to the Dyad, inside the confines of a 15-foot high steel temper cage, of course, to Dijak versus Eddie Thorpe, could outshine Heatwave. And we also had the start of the Global Heritage Invitational as well. Heatwave was a solid night of action and elevated multiple stars, but failing to land on the main event held it back from feeling truly special. I do agree with you on the rating, though, MF. It is an 8 to 8.5, so there isn't much more to say here. MF, we move on now to AEW. Very busy night for All Elite Wrestling. Not only did they have a live Dynamite to do here tonight, but as we speak, I do believe they are taping the Collision show that we're going to see on Saturday night, because, you know, they got to head, all those guys and gals got to head over to London, got to head over to Wembley for All In this Sunday. So, and boy, oh boy, friends, wait till you hear what MF and I have to say about this go-home show. From Duluth, Georgia, the arena at Gwinnett Center in Duluth, Georgia. So, MF, what a show we had tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started it off with a lot of drama, a lot of promo stuff to start it off. But then, if you want the in-ring action, here it is. Jon Moxley versus Rey Fenix, one-on-one. Winner of the bout in 13 minutes and 40 seconds was Jon Moxley. Solid opener. Really good match. Easily a 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star fight. This was red hot. But the thing is that it also served its purpose. They attacked Rey Fenix. It basically has knocked them out of the Stadium Stampede fight. But we knew that was going to happen. There was some talk about that. There was some visa issues with Rey Fenix. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But it served its purpose. It's just an unfortunate that Rey will not be a part of the match now. He is officially out of Stadium Stampede at Wembley. So now the question is, who replaces him? Well, we'll get that answer soon enough. But yeah, at the end of the day, this was kind of a mixed bag. It was a good match, but it also served its purpose. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
What was that time again?
13:40.
That's what I thought. All right, I just wanted to be sure. Jon Moxley and Rey Fenix had a good competitive match in which the latter was treated like the heel's equal and nearly beat him on more than one occasion. Moxley, a tenacious wrestler, simply outlasted him and put him to sleep for the win. The shocking return of Santana and Ortiz after the match, which saw them attack best friends, Orange Cassidy and Penta, while Blackpool Combat Club assaulted Rey Fenix and left him in need of a stretcher, added to the emotional stakes of Sunday's match. A hot angle, a significant return, and a pay-per-view match better off than it was prior to the segment made this a solid thumbs up here. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. It was so nice to see Moxley having a wrestling match again. Rey Fenix kicked out of an avalanche Death Rider, but succumbed to the Bulldog choke as Moxley picked up the win. The return of Santana felt like a big deal, as it should. The guy was one of the first guys to make a major impact in AEW, and by reuniting with Ortiz to join Blackpool Combat Club in time for All In, his stock is elevated exponentially. And backstage, following the commercial break, Rey Fenix was loaded into an ambulance. Renee Paquette attempted to get a word with Eddie Kingston, who vowed to fix the issues between him and Jon Moxley at All In. Instead of it being a 12-man tag, it's now a 10-man tag now. Rey Fenix is out. So you got Penta El Zero Miedo, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, and the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. They're going up against Jon Moxley, Claudio, Wheeler of the BCC, along with Santana and Ortiz. So it sucks to lose Rey Fenix. But nonetheless, though, MF, this was a 3.5 to 3 3/4 star match here, one of the fights of the night. But now that you add Santana and Ortiz to this mix, you thought Stadium Stampede was going to be wild and crazy beforehand? You add those nuts to it. Oh Lord.
Yeah, it makes it a
Oh
lot more
Lord.
dangerous. A
Oh
lot
Lord.
more dangerous.
I don't know what else there is to say. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
Next up, we had was Darby Allin and Nick Wayne. They went up against Swerve Strickland and AR Fox, Tornado Tag Team. Darby Allin and Nick Wayne wins the match in roughly 10 minutes. Anthony, it's yours.
3.25 to 3.5 stars for the effort here. I mean, wow. Fun little match here. A fun little sprint here. Despite a concentrated effort by Swerve Strickland and AR Fox, a resilient Nick Wayne fought through tremendous pain. And boy, howdy, did that young man take a beating and a half in this fight. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he earned his man card tonight. That's all I'm saying. But nonetheless, I'm just lost my train of thought here. All right. Resilient Wayne fought through the tremendous pain to score the win, the upset win, and dismayed by the loss, Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana kicked AR Fox out of the Mogul Embassy. And then Darby Allin and Nick Wayne reemerged from the locker room with Sting and cleared the heels from the squared circle, only to find out that Christian Cage will join Swerve at Wembley. So AR Fox is out, Christian Cage is in. So it'll be Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage going up against Darby Allin and Sting in that tag team coffin match at Wembley. And Fox and Strickland countered Wayne's World with a German suplex neckbreaker combination that netted them a 2 count. Wayne showed tremendous resilience. The young star clearly overwhelmed by his opponents but refused to give in. AR Fox missed the 450 splash. Wayne stacked him up and scored the win while Allin held Strickland at bay. And Strickland asked, how come every time you get an opportunity of a lifetime, you blow it? And he said, little did you know, this was a test for you. This is all a test. And then Strickland and Prince Nana fired AR Fox, leading to a beatdown of the excommunicated wrestler until Darby Allin, Nick Wayne, and Sting made the save, chasing the heels from the ring. And then Christian Cage wrapped up another scathing promo by saying, we all know every fatherless child needs a mentor, and there's no better mentor than the TNT champion, Christian Cage. What? You're not the TNT champion, buddy. Last time I checked, Luchasaurus, I believe, is the champion of record. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, yeah. I mean, this character of Christian Cage, I mean, Bullock and I had a little bit of a text chat, and during that text chat, I went off. And I said some things that I can't say on this show. That's how angry I was. So, and I'm not going to say those things.
That bad, huh? Oh boy. And I know you hardly ever get that, you hardly ever do that. Hardly ever do that.
Anytime you go after somebody who lost their dad, hello, I have too. Not, and you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But been there, been through it, and that's what did it. When I heard that, I couldn't help but think about that. And I would have, and what I said to Bullock is exactly what I would have said to Christian Cage if he got a promo like that on me. I'll tell you that right now. So, yeah, remember Jesse? Remember during the Warrior Rude Intercontinental match at SummerSlam '89, how nuts Jesse went? When Warrior was constantly throwing him out of the ring and all that.
Yep.
Everything he said. Well, I did that and then some. Let's just say that.
All right.
So, I'll if we have time after the show, I'll give you the uncensored version. I'll tell you that right now.
All right.
So, but I know I'm supposed to be the Jesse Ventura here, but in this case, I was you could say I was basically the human side of Corey Graves at times. So that's all I'm gonna say. So, but nonetheless, this was about 3 to 3.25 for this bout. And but I will say it like this on behalf of Michael Bullock and myself, after those horrific remarks that really gutted me, there's only one thing Christian Cage deserves, and that is, in the immortal words of Jim Ross, He deserves a government mule style beating at Wembley. Period. End of quotation. End of statement. Move on.
Well, I guess we know who Anthony's going to be picking on our special on Friday night. We're going to do a special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk on Friday.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. Well, since the show's on Saturday, we're not going to do it on Saturday. We need to do the preview.
All in is on Sunday, not Saturday.
Oh, all right. Then Saturday then. All right. That's fine. Whatever.
There you go.
So I thought it was Saturday that they're doing the show. So
I know it's hard because you know how WWE is doing pay-per-views on Saturdays now, and
yeah,
you know you just can't help but assume they do it on a Saturday, but no, it's Sunday afternoon.
I know at some point AEW is going back to Saturdays as well because they're not going to want to run head to head against the NFL. We all know that.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, but we'll see. But anyway. Next up we had was Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. Ruby Soho winning in roughly 7 minutes. This was kind of a showcase fight for Ruby. Really not much to talk about here. It was fine for what it was worth. It was maybe a 2-star bout, but I don't think there was much to talk about here, Anthony. I didn't really see anything that would have, maybe said anything. But I do know Ruby Soho did call out Chris Statlander and said that she's going after her TBS title. But other than that, there was nothing much for me to really size up about. So Florio, it's yours.
You just made my point for me, MF. Ruby Soho wants the TBS championship from Chris Statlander and sent a message loudly and clearly tonight by defeating Sky Blue. The match more competitive than Ruby Soho likely expected as Sky Blue continues to establish herself as a challenger of the future, a la Lyra Valkyria in NXT, was a solid and competitive one in which the right person went over based on the creative plans laid out prior to the bout. Sky Blue continues to impress and is better with every passing bout. She's going to be a star for AEW, and based on the constant improvement, it would behoove Tony Khan and the rest of the booking team to carve out a role for her that is more than the plucky underdog who loses to the stars. Solid 2.5 stars for that. So there isn't much more to say here. MF, that ended up being the main event of the evening.
Yeah, because it was more of a promo heavy show. We'll talk about the promos in a little bit. But the last match was actually a Ring of Honor World Tag Team title fight, as it was Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis. They went up against the Hardys, and it was Aussie Open successfully defending the titles in 8 minutes and 5 seconds. So, Anthony, it's yours.
2.5, 2 3/4. Ahead of their Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship defense against MJF and Adam Cole as part of the All-In 0-hour pre-show, Aussie Opens, Mark Davis, and Kyle Fletcher proved they are anything but walkovers or afterthoughts as they defeated future Hall of Famers, the Hardys, in tonight's main event. There was plenty of effort from the Hardys, but this was all about showcasing the champions, and in that regard, it was a success. They looked impressive, like one of the best tag teams on the planet, and two guys deserving of the spotlight Sunday's match will bring them. The post-match featuring Adam Cole and MJF was great too, with the latter once again teasing a betrayal in the form of a cheap shot with a dynamite diamond ring, only to hug his buddy. The look on both men's faces told the story of competitors torn between preserving friendship and competing for the top prize in the company. If this and other recent hints of fracture were any indicator, it is safe to say that the friendship is about to implode Sunday at Wembley. The Hardys in a main event in 2023, with all due respect, is not something that will. The Hardys in a main event in 2023. Yeah, that's something. It's really, it's not something that should happen regardless of the circumstances. Physically, they're not equipped to be in that position, no matter how bright their stars may be. Excalibur did his best to sell the idea that the Hardys might spoil plans for All In by scoring the upset and facing MJF and Adam Cole. He tried. Fletcher and Davis vowed to retain their Ring of Honor tag titles, but were quickly interrupted by Adam Cole and MJF, who entered to a thunderous ovation. Adam Cole nearly caught MJF with a super kick, but the Devil caught his leg. A tense stare down ensued before the AEW World Heavyweight Champion posed with his title. The friends bumped shoulders, and MJF teased using the Dynamite Diamond ring, but the two hugged it out to close the show. I smell a rat. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sunday.
It's gonna implode. You can feel it. Yep.
Don't be surprised if it happens during that Ring of Honor World Tag Title match.
I think it will. Either it'll happen during the fight or after the fight. But yeah,
definitely.
There's going to be an explosion.
Definitely. So I don't know what else there is to say in that regard. So it was a 2.5-star match. So there isn't much more to say here. MF, new school getting the best of old school, and it may not have been the prettiest match, but with all due respect, and I can't believe what a dummy I am for not mentioning this beforehand. Can you think of a bigger win for Aussie Open? Wouldn't you consider this the biggest win of their career, considering they beat one of the absolute greatest top 10 tag teams of all time in the Hardys?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I could probably say closest thing I would probably say would probably be their battles with the Gorillas of Destiny in New Japan, who's also a top 10 caliber tag team in wrestling today. So, I mean, yeah, without a doubt, when you beat the Hardys, that's nothing to sneeze at, folks. That is definitely nothing to sneeze at. So, yeah, no doubt about it. 2.5 to about 2.5 stars. Like we said, this tonight was very, very, very promo heavy, more than usual. So I would love to see the actual amount of wrestling time there was on this show, because let me tell you, folks, there wasn't a lot. It was very promo heavy. At least I want to say almost a good, I want to say hour 15, hour 20 minutes was all promo stuff. And the thing is, there was nothing to sneeze at. Some of the promo stuff was amazing.
Jericho Ospreay.
Yeah, there's nothing more. You could go, that alone was like damn near 5 stars. So, I mean, if you want to talk about this show, this was 8.5 as a whole. If you're looking for pure wrestling, sorry, folks, this was not the night. You weren't going to find it here. If you were looking for some great promo stuff, promo work, great build and hype to the All In at Wembley, ladies and gentlemen, you got it and then some. So if you're on the fence about paying the $50 for this event on Sunday from Wembley Stadium in London, I can rest assure you, folks, I think they squashed any type of fear about that with an amazing with all of the amazing stuff that they did here tonight. So 8.5, Anthony, go ahead. It's yours, man.
Yeah. Let me talk to you about that Jericho Ospreay segment. I mean, Chris Jericho did his best work of the year in the contract signing for his match with Will Ospreay at All In. The Ocho put over the enormity of All In, claiming it to be even bigger than WrestleMania, and firing up as he talked about social media critics eager to write his demise. He was passionate and invested, and the fans believed what came out of his mouth. It was the most motivated promo he's cut in months, and it took a match that was already at the center of a sizable storyline and made it that much bigger of a deal. But what about Will Ospreay as well? He was great, angrily and defiantly telling Jericho what their match means for him beyond the squared circle, escalating the stakes. Throw in Don Callis and a little nod to the great Lance Storm, and you have an in-ring promo segment that may rank among the best this company has ever produced. And Don Callis said, the reason I did what I did can be summed up in 4 words. Will by God Ospreay. He says, I chose writing history over watching it. This match chases my life, Ospreay said. After this match, he said, I'll be the first person to ever defeat Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, and Chris Jericho in 2 months. And Jericho said, I told you to tone it down because if you didn't, you would never have the longevity of Chris Jericho. And he took credit for Ospreay's success by convincing him not to take the physical risks that he was at the time. And of course, like I said, Jericho, called this bigger than WrestleMania. That shows you how bad he wants this. And that just shows you how, and in a sense, it kind of is because of the numbers. But, we'll wait and see how it all plays out on Sunday. But, yeah, Jericho called this the biggest match of his career, bigger than WrestleMania even. And Jericho warned Ospreay, don't make me regret calling you 5 years ago. So, and then the interviews with Renee Paquette did with MJF and Adam Cole, those were well done. Of course, the segment with the interview that Renee did with FTR and the Young Bucks, yeah, that was fun as well. And tensions built between them in a trash talking face-to-face interview. And a lot of this is just freezing on me, but nonetheless, I agree with the rating. This was another 8. I mean, I could even go higher if I wanted to. Somewhere between 8.5 to 9. I mean, this might have been the best episode of AEW Dynamite, and that is not hyperbole. There was a sense of urgency creatively from the moment the show hit the air, and it never relented. Every segment served a purpose in building a story, highlighting a star, or providing hype for a match on Sunday's pay-per-view. Everything was meaningful, and the result maybe the most focused show Tony Khan has ever overseen as the head booker of a professional wrestling show. There were smaller creative decisions that will earn scrutiny, and deservedly so. AR Fox's firing, okay. But the show as a whole was one that knew the assignment and delivered, providing considerable hype for the most important event in company history. So in a sense, I think it should be somewhere around 8.5 to 9 based on that alone. So fantastic show. And if you had, if anybody had doubts about All In, you're not anymore. I know I'm not. So I'll be ready. So there isn't much more for me to say. 8.5 to 9. And WWE, take note, by the way, take some notes. I hope you were taking notes, because what we saw tonight, that was how you produce a go-home show.
Yeah, it was really good. All right, so now that we are done, of course, we got a couple of bits of news that we're going to try to fit out of here before we head on home for the night. Obviously, tomorrow night is a special edition of we actually got it back, guys. Believe it or not, we're making a grand return. TXN Sports World is back tomorrow night, hosted by Anthony Florio, 10:30 Eastern. We got a lot. At number 1, we got the college football preview. We're gonna do everything Power 5, and of course, we're gonna talk about Notre Dame. We gotta talk about Notre Dame. That is actually within the contract. That was even during the days of that other show, sports show that we used to do. But we decided, because it's Anthony Florio's favorite team, that we would still honor it regardless. So we'll get into a preview of Notre Dame for the upcoming year. Then we got the NFL preview as well. We got that. I got the Big 3 final. It is set, going down. Believe it or not, what a weekend for England, man. Not only do you have the AEW All In at Wembley on Sunday, but the day before, from the O2 Arena in London, is the Big 3 final. The championship will be on the line. The Dr. J. Julius Erving championship will be on the line, as a one-time champion, the triplets, will try to win their second title. They go up against first-time opponent, the enemies, in the championship game. And then, of course, there is a celebrity game and an all-star game prior to the main event. I do believe they posted the rosters on all the teams, so we'll drop that for you guys. That'll go down. And as a matter of fact, we're also going to do one other thing. There's an RWA show going down this Saturday. We're going to add that as a special little preview So we got the NFL preview, got college football preview, Big Three final, RWA Summertime Showdown preview. That's all tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern. Saturday, we do it again. Where this time around, we got SmackDown Live, we got AEW Collision, and then we're previewing All In from Wembley on that will be Saturday night at 10:30. So for Anthony Floyo, I'm Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, leave a comment on the bottom, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms around the world. And until then, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow night for the season finale of TXN Sports World.
Rest in peace,